Hi everyone, we're up to episode 8, which as we know is my first chemo day, and I am calling this episode a seat, a drip and a sandwich. So I probably wanted to just do a little bit of an update of how I went from yesterday through today. First lesson I learnt yesterday was if you need to get your blood tested in hospital, just double check. So what happened was I was supposed to get a blood test for chemo today yesterday. So I asked whether I could have it done whilst I was getting my Portacat in rather than go to Sullivan and Nicolaides afterwards. They will absolutely come and do it, but the girls are very clear and say to you, this will cost you a couple of $100, whereas if you come to Sullivan and Nick, it will be bulk billed. So just a trick for people new to all of this stuff to watch that too. Sleeping with the Portacat was fine last night. I have a bit of bruising today, you can see, ouch, but it doesn't actually hurt, so it looks worse than it actually is. But one of the reasons that I had a good night's sleep, and I want to do a big shout out and thank you to the Lions Club of Mount Tambourine, because yesterday what they gave me when I was leaving the breast care nurse was the seatbelt little cushions to put over your seatbelt so it doesn't hurt where your Portacat is, as well as a pillow to sleep with that sort of sat around the Portacat and made it much nicer. So thank you guys, that was excellent. And another big shout out and thank you to Jan, who also lent me one of her wigs that she had when she went through this, as well as some turbans. So really appreciative of that. So we went in at about 10 o'clock this morning. So Derek came with me and sat with me throughout the whole thing. I still wasn't feeling any different. And it was weird because I was basically going in to poison myself with chemo. So yeah, it's still not something that's registering well with me anyway. We had a great seat. They've got it like a recliner that you put your feet up, you can lie back, and a big glass window that's sort of overlooked. You could see the Broadwater, so that was a really lovely aspect as well. And there's 3 other people in the room with me, but I cannot fault any of it because, as I said, the seat was wonderful, the nurses were wonderful. It was really, really great. So then it all sort of kicked off. So it was about 4 hours in total from when we left home to when we got back. We left home at about 9:30, got back at about 1:30. So they start with the first drip, and the first drip is the steroids and anti-nausea tablets. So that goes in first. I shouldn't say tablets, anti-nausea fusion. So you just sort of sit around and wait for that to flow through your body. Not a lot to do. I think I said to Derek, who's just walked in, this is a little bit boring, but the good thing was it's got good internet, and I was able to work on my laptop too, because that's a really good distraction, so I could do emails and other things whilst I was there. So it was fantastic having Derek with me the first time, because it is quite overwhelming and people are giving you a lot of information. But I think going forward I will probably just get someone to drop me and get Derek to drop me, and I'll just sit there and work. So that'll be good, because there was a lot of forms and a lot of questions. So then the first chemo starts. Now it is red, and they had warned me that it will flow right through and out my body in that red colour, and that certainly did happen. So that first drug was called doxorubicin. So it didn't take very long to go through. That one was quite a quick one, but obviously they're dealing with lots of patients, so they're moving between patients. The second chemo was longer. Now let me try this. It is cyclophosphamide, something like that. Anyway, you can't feel anything. In fact, you can probably feel more when they flush the saline than when they actually start to put the poison in you. I don't know what I was expecting, whether it was going to be a big zzz, and I could feel it, but definitely couldn't feel it. The pharmacist then comes around and talks to you about the different drugs and side effects. The other thing I need to do tomorrow is I need to give myself an injection at 1 p.m. thumbs up for the diabetic, because that sort of didn't require any training at all, so I'll be good with that. And then I have a tablet that I have to take each morning for 3 days. Now that's about boosting your white blood cells, because they will drop during chemo, and so they need to make sure that I'm not getting an infection, so I need to check my temperature at least twice a day. Mouthwash is the other one, because you will get mouth ulcers, so each time I eat I need to be washing it out in a salt water type of, or bicarb soda type of concoction, and drink lots and lots of water. So that was sort of got us through to the end of chemo, and then we got our sandwich, which was actually really yummy. You've got to love hospital sandwiches. So how do I feel now? I probably still don't feel any different. I'm a little bit tired at the moment, but I'm actually putting that down to the fact that I have to walk down that hallway 50 times in the afternoon just to go to the toilet, because I'm drinking so much water. So maybe that extra activity is making me a bit more tired. They did say to me that steroids would give me a hit and I would basically be on, and that tonight I may not sleep as well because of the steroids. That hasn't happened at all. In fact, I think it's gone the other way around. I haven't felt the effects of the steroids, although I did say to somebody that when you're a bouncy, positive person like me, maybe the steroid was already at that level, and so there was no way to go higher. But anyway, so we'll see how that goes overnight, but hopefully I will get a good sleep. And yeah, so that was basically then the end of chemo. So I think now it's, let's see what happens in the next few days, because I could get side effects, I might not get side effects. Everybody's different. It was actually nice to listen to or eavesdrop on people talking in the chemo area, because they had all different sorts of cancers and all different sort of treatments. So most people were pretty positive in there as well, which was actually nice to see. Interestingly though, when I went back and had a look at the views on my videos, the episode that got the most views was called "Well, That Sucks." Now, it's the one that actually sounds negative. It had over 100 views where the others didn't, which makes me sort of really sad that people gravitate towards things that sound like they're going to be bad news. But maybe it, in another sense, it could be that it's a caring thing and they're wanting to make sure I'm okay. But please stay with the positive ones as well, which maybe then think about how I want to end these videos. And for me, I think what I'm going to do is try and think about what I'm grateful for every time I do a post. For me, the obvious one is obviously family, friends, but I'll come to that later. But one of the biggest ones is work and CQ University and my colleagues there, because I am so lucky to have the flexibility that I have to almost fit cancer into my life rather than the other way around. Susan and I, when we were sitting in Chemo 101, was listening to the guy behind us who was sort of asking about, timing and when, because he said he had to go back and negotiate with work. And I thought, oh, you poor thing, having to worry about whether or not you're still going to have a job. But also, you think about small business owners, and it is hard when, you do it with a business that it isn't as big as the university either. And the most annoying thing is that appointments get moved around. But luckily I've got Sharon, who's very good at moving my diary around. So big shout out to CQ University. You guys are awesome, and everybody has just rallied and said they're happy to help me wherever I can. But hopefully work will be my big distraction and won't need that. So this was a very, very long video, but it was probably the mark of when I started cancer treatment. So thanks for listening, and I'll let you know in the next couple of days how I'm feeling with the chemo. Thank you.